Well, hello everybody, and thanks for having me here today. As you have seen, there's this theme of AI that we're talking about today, and it is important. So Robert did give a fantastic presentation. I actually listened to a lot of those, and so that was excellent. And so it actually is going to save me a lot of time in terms of teeing up the topic and really kind of talking about the economic impact that it does. And make no mistake, as you've seen, it has. But and this is going to dovetail nicely into my conversation with you today, is because that was really, here's what it means from an economic standpoint and investment. I'm going to talk about what does this mean for each one of you in your offices in a daily basis, because that's really where the impact needs to start to happen more and more and more. So, as Tim mentioned, I'm excited to be here to have this conversation with everybody today, and I want to tell you this as well. I am not an AI expert. Anybody that tells you they're an AI expert, you need to push back on them. Why? Because it's hard to be an expert in something that changes literally every day, every minute sometimes it feels like. And so I am not a tech guru. I am not a data scientist. I am a nonprofit leader. I'm a Colorado native. I'm like you. And so this is my life. I talk about AI all the time. But it's because of this. When you look at information that's out there from an educational and AI literacy standpoint, there's a lot of good information out there, but it's really geared towards Fortune 500s. It is a data scientist telling people how the technology works. And for most of us that are like, that's cool or interesting, but I don't understand how this applies to me. And so that's why I'm doing these classes as training, this education. And so from the standpoint of like context, I want to give people context because it's important to have the context because just like AI, you need to know my frame of reference and where I'm kind of coming from. So again, I already mentioned I'm with Better Business Bureau. So ethics, trust, that's very important to me. It should be important to all of you as well. I am the past chair for the Colorado Workforce Development Council. So you're going to see a workforce lens, kind of important, right? When we're talking about jobs. I'm going to bring in the perspective. I'm an adjunct professor at University of Colorado, so I like doing this anyways. So teaching is fun. And then again, the last thing I would just kind of mention is that it really kind of comes down to impact. It really comes down to how can we use these tools for good, as you heard, and this is the theme of today, and really make sure we're using it wisely. But you got to be strategic, and you got to make sure that you're using it well. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I'm going to go fast because just like AI, because this is how quickly it changes. By the way, it's a 1-to-7 ratio. AI, think of it like in dog years, right? For every year that goes by in our world, it's like 7 for AI. So if we don't talk for 6 months, that's like 3.5 years have gone by in AI. So it moves fast, it changes fast. Presentation I'm going to give you, I probably change at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I've already trained about 4,000 people throughout Colorado in a year. So again, adaptation rates need to pick up. Part of that's because people don't understand the technology or how it works, so we're going to kind of break that down. There's going to be this section that we do now, and then after that we'll stop, have a break. Some people may need to go. I'd encourage you, if you can, to stick around for the second half. I'm actually going to do some live demos, and I'm going to give you some tools that you're going to want to learn how to use. And so if you can, stick around for that. But let's get rolling here. Oh, but I'm going to also poll you with questions, and then I'll pause in the middle and at the end very quickly for a couple questions. But we're gonna move fast. But I want to see what I'm working with here. So be honest. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. You can say yes to all of them. You can pick and choose whatever you'd like. With a raise of hands, how many of you just love AI? Raise your hands. Okay. How many of you are like, meh, it's okay, kind of skeptical? All right. How many of you are, I've seen the movies, I know what's going to happen, we're all going to die, and robots are taking out? Be honest. Okay. All right. So I'm probably like most of you. This is the coolest technology I've ever seen. And this is the most terrifying technology I've ever seen. But guess what? It's not going to go away, folks. It's here. And as you've heard, from an economic standpoint, we're all in on AI. This actually has to work. The other important thing you need to understand is this. How you use AI and how you think about it are 2 parts to the same coin. Most people want to have, this is why I'm here today. I'm going to talk to you about how to use it, right? That's important. How you use it is going to change every single month, every single week. You actually need to think about how to think with it and how you process it and how your cognitive mind is going to be reshaped by AI. It's not your friend. It's not your therapist. Please don't use it for that. It's there to help accelerate your thinking. It's there to accelerate your productivity and your strategic mind, right? So we're not going to talk about that a ton, but I want to tell you, as a former psychologist, I think it's extremely important. So I actually wrote a book about it. And it's kind of about this AI collaboration, emerging of soul and system. of both these minds coming together to work collaboratively. Again, it shouldn't take the place. It shouldn't inhibit. It should augment, and it should refine. All right. So this is the book. It's called Thought Partner. That's really what you need to think of AI as. It's a thought partner. Again, it shouldn't do the work for you. It shouldn't think for you. It shouldn't be your cognitive crutch. It should enhance. And so that's the website if you want to check out more. But I just want to point this out because we're not going to talk about this a whole lot in here today. We're going to talk about how to use AI. But again, at the end of the day, the way you think, not the tools, are going to define the future of how you're going to use AI, and more importantly, how you are going to incorporate it into your daily work. And that's important because each of us have different personalities. We have different jobs. We have different roles. This is customizable technology for each one of you that thinks at the speed you think, learns at the rate you learn, and will teach you the way you want to be taught. This is a big deal, right? And so it's customizable thinking. It's getting smarter too, software. I'm going to talk about a couple things, and again, we'll kind of start with what this is doing to the world, what this is doing to business, what this is doing to nonprofits. So we're going to kind of start in that order and kind of go to make it, to kind of give you, again, that context and some relevance of what's happening and why this change is happening so quickly. So I love this quote. This is the CEO from Google, because this is spot on, right? This is some of the most profound technology we as a species have ever worked on. And I use that word species on important because this next piece is, this is my opinion, as a species, we're not ready for this technology, period. Think about that. As a species, we're not ready for this technology. But again, as I've already said, it's here. It's not going away. And when people ask, hey, John, can AI do, let me just stop you right there. The answer is yes. We're already there. Yes, it can do what you are probably asking or thinking. It can do it. Last year, it kind of did, or it didn't. This year, it can pretty much do it. So again, last year, this year, 7 years have already kind of transpired in the world of AI. So said another way, this is my interpretation of it. This is a civilization level upgrade to everything, right? There's pros and cons to this. My other question to this group is, this is definitely a trick question. Does anybody have any ethical concerns with AI? Raise your hands. All the hands should be up. Shout out a couple of ethical concerns that you have. Environment. What else? Bias. Yes. What else? Health. Healthcare. ChatGPT Health's coming, folks. It's going to be interesting. What else? Jobs. Privacy. Climate. Yes. Misinformation, fake videos, scams. Yes to all of it. You're all correct, and I agree with you on all of them. Today, I'm not here to debate the ethical concerns about it, and even as the BBB guy, I have the same concerns as you do. We have issues with this, right? And so again, the other thing is that the U.S. government has been pretty clear about they're not going to regulate AI because they want it to fuel innovation and fuel the economy, and we are in an arms race with other countries, right? So that means a lot of innovation, a lot of cool things are going to happen, and because we're not going to regulate it, that means we're going to hurt a lot of people, we're going to create a lot of harm, and we're going to create a lot of issues. We need people like you using it well and wisely so that we can teach and train this new learning technology, what it means from the standpoint of the work that we do. The work that we do is extremely important. We need to teach it and tell it what to do, not just let those other people use it or scammers just use it, because AI is learning. And so we need to make sure that we're using it well and use it wisely. I want to talk about like AI in terms of just the general terminology as well. This is not new technology. AI has been around since the 50s. The technology that everybody's talking about that's got everybody excited is this whole thing called generative AI, right? These LLMs, these large language models, and they are beginning to think and reason on their own more and more and more so, right? That's kind of what's captured the world's attention. What's unique and interesting about that too is the notion of like there are 4 different stages. There's 3 on here. I'll come back to the 4th. And so perception AI, this is the AI that we've had for a while. This is Alexa and Siri. Those have been okay. They're getting upgraded, by the way. Alexa 2 came out, not impressed. Siri is getting an upgrade. Apple decided, well, we can't do this on our own. We're going to go hire Google for $1 billion to upgrade Siri. So they should be better. We'll see. But that's kind of the first level. Second level is generative AI, right? That's where you put something into a ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and you get information back, and it does some cool and amazing things. Started out just with text. Now you can do photos, and now you can do videos. So that's called multimodal AI. It has gotten really, really good. I'm going to show you an example of a video here in a little bit. The third level is this, agentic AI. This is the future of everything. The world economy will be agentic. and it's already started, it's already happening right under everybody's noses. So most people are learning how to use generative AI, which is good, you need to, but you need to be thinking and working in agentic AI systems. What's the difference? In a nutshell, it's kind of this. I'll talk more about this in a little bit, but just kind of a quick tee it up. Generative AI is where you put something into an LLM and it does something for you, it makes something for you, it writes a nice email. Then you cut and paste that into your email or a Word document, and then you have to do the work, right? Agentic AI it has agency. It can think and reason and do on its own. So if you prompt it, just like you would in generative AI, and you give it a task, it'll go do the task for you. So you type that into your computer, and then you walk away, and it will do the work. Anything that you, humans, can do on a computer or the internet, an agent can do right now probably better. And this already exists today. So if you have ChatGPT and you connect and there's a bunch of apps in there, if you haven't checked those out, there's hundreds of them now. You can buy flowers. You can connect to Instacart. You can connect to your hotel.com. It'll book flights, it'll pay for flights, it'll plan your itinerary, and it will buy your plane tickets. If you give it a budget, it'll go research it and do it, and it will connect to your information, and it'll just buy stuff for you. That's the agency that is here. It's not coming, it's here. And so this is extremely powerful technology. And you have access to it right now. The next bucket, number 4, is physical AI. We're familiar with cars and self-driving cars, and those are cool, and people are having fun with those, right? But I'm not talking about just those. I'm talking about that second bullet there, general robotics. The robots are coming, folks. And so if we're not talking about this in this investment meeting this next year, it'll definitely be in 2 years, where you're going to talk about AI and what that's doing to the market, what general robotics is going to do, the humanoids, what that's going to do in terms of money is going to be this next level thing, right? And so this is the $1 trillion robotics revolution that's already started. And so here are some of the leaders in this space. So Tesla has a robot called Optimus. These, by the way, some of these robots you can buy now or rent them. So the one on the right you can buy for $20,000, or you can rent it for $400 a month. And they're not great at doing household chores, but that's what that one's designed to do. So probably by the end of this year, it'll be really, really good at cooking, cleaning, folding clothes, washing dishes, walking the dog, all those types of tasks. So here's my next question to you. This is a debate in my household. How many of you are like, heck yeah, I'm getting a robot, do my tasks and my chores at home? Raise your hands. How many of you are like, nope, it's going to kill me in my sleep? Okay, I appreciate the honesty. This is the debate my wife and I are having. I'm like, I'm not so sure. She's like, we're getting a robot. I'm like, I don't know. But make no mistake, the robots are coming, right? These humanoids are coming. This is the Chinese one. You've probably seen this on the internet. This is the one they taught how to do Kung Fu. Like, why would you do that? Really? Doing backflips, dancing? That's that one. These things are incredible. And what's interesting about these is that the technology for robotics has been there for years, but it didn't have as a brain. That's AI, that's LLMs. So now it can think and reason. There's something that Musk is working on called World AI, where the cars, the Teslas and things are a precursor to building these, because it can think and reason in that we built a humanoid world, but it can think and reason in spatial and physical ways. So the other way you can think about AI in terms of investment and jobs, what does AI need to thrive and survive, right? Well, whatever AI needs, that's where you make your investments, that's where you look to jobs. Mentioned data centers. That's the next millionaire class. It's going to be plumbers, electricians, the trades, right? They're going to make a lot of money building these things, these tools. Gold and silver, mentioned that, you heard from Robert. Those are things you need for the chips. So again, electricity, energy, water, all these things that the AI needs, that's where you want to look to your investments, and that's where you want to pay attention to where the jobs are going to go. So pay attention to those types of things. There's this other thing too that I like telling people is that people kind of mix up the terminology of these different things. So generative AI, that's kind of the brain. Then there's different things where you can build your AI powered workflows where it will do tasks for you. That's something that an LM can do, but it's also starting to get into the agentic technology. Then you've got these AI agents that can make decisions and do things on their own. And then you have these multi-agentic teams that are starting to appear right now in the workplace. And so these are the things all of us need to be paying attention to, because these are the things that are going to change how everything works. Now, this is OpenAI's plan. This is not my plan. They've publicly stated this is what we're working on. You just need to know. Sorry, folks, generative AI right here. That's 2024 stuff. That's the old technology. That's really where that's at. Last year, we started talking about agentic AI, 2025. This year, this is where we're at. We're in multi-agentic AI. You should have multiple agents already in your business and your nonprofits and your organizations helping you do work, helping you streamline the boring and the basic tasks. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Future state, 2028, beyond, who knows, we'll see. Departmental AI, where this can do the whole work of an entire department. And then 2030 and beyond, organizational AI, where it can do the whole work of an entire organization. As leaders, we need to make decisions now about our AI policies. I'm human-centered. This is clearly stated in my AI policy for my team, because back when we started using this a couple years ago, my team asked me, "Oh, dang, Jonathan, you're going to fire all of us, aren't you?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to fire all of you. What are you talking about?" "Well, you're going to automate all our jobs." "No, I'm going to evolve your jobs, make them better. Make them so that you're not doing the boring, busy work that you don't like to do, so that you can go out in the community and serve our mission, serve our customers, and be more human. That's what we need to do. That's what you should be using AI for. It's not good at the human things. It's great at the boring stuff we don't want to do anyways." So think that way. Think about your pain points and apply AI into those sections of your work so that it can help you get out of the office, get out of that computer, and go do things like this. This is a very human thing to do. But again, this is what they're doing. This is what they're working on. How are you going to apply these tools? What decisions are you going to make now? The framework and the foundation that you build today is going to be important for the future. Robert already set this up, so it's like, I don't have to talk about this. This is easy. This is the Magnificent Seven, right? And so Robert did a great job of explaining how, right now the economy is really focusing on these 7 companies, and it's all AI. And so the point is this, and Robert already made it, and I like this chart too. This came out a couple months ago from Bloomberg. They did this analysis of like how the money's flowing. And again, as Robert said, it's not all new money. They're recycling it, sometimes 2 or 3 times. They're propping up OpenAI big time. You can see that there. So for every dollar that OpenAI makes, they're losing 3 right now. They're kind of like in the early age of Amazon. They'll make money, and then when the IPO comes out, we'll see. But the point is, look at all this stuff moving around. Look at who's in the middle, NVIDIA. And then again, the dollars that people are investing, not just in these companies, are just investing in AI on a weekly basis is about $10 billion. That's where you're seeing the numbers that Robert was talking about. It's a significant impact, it's significant money, and everybody's betting on this right now. So my point in telling you this is simply this, like it's done. We are reliant on this. This has to work. I'm with you. This is awesome and this is terrifying. I'm with you. But from the standpoint of how we've already set this up for our economy, for the global economy, we are all in on AI. This just kind of happened while we slept. So this has to work, right? And it's up to us. It's choice that we have to make sure that we're using this ethically and responsibly too. Versus, well, I'm not going to use it. Well, the people that are using it, there's a lot of people out there doing some really bad things with it. And we need more good people using it for good things. They're going to benefit society and not detract from it. So we have a choice to make as leaders. Oh, by the way, I saw this on social media the other day. It's like, that's kind of funny. It's like there's Atlas propping up the entire global economy. No pressure, Jensen and NVIDIA. So it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think that's a good idea. But again, this is where we're at, right? This is the world that we live in. So I get this question a lot, and so it's like, Jonathan, what is going on with the world? And I don't know all of it. Nobody does. There's lots of different pieces to this, but there's one thing I can tell you that's happening now to describe what Robert was talking about and to describe what's happening right now that people don't really realize is happening, right? So why does the world feel loose and unsettled? There's lots of things. There's geopolitical things happening all the time, but there's a big one that's and people are talking about AI, but there's not something that AI is related to that they're really mentioning. And here's what's happening. This is what's going on right now. So we've been in the industrial age for hundreds of years, right? In the industrial age, you can see here that the value is labor driven. In terms of the systems, it's very centralized and it's very slow and controlled. It takes time. This industrial age that we are all used to is dying. This economic age is going to go away. So there's a lot of stuff happening right now. The world feels weird, off. These are things I hear. Different, dimension. I hear all this stuff. It's like, what is going on? There's lots of reasons to this, but this is a big one in that we are switching from this economic age to a new economic age, and the rules are different. They're very different. The systems and the value, it's intelligence driven. The speed of change is significant. The systems are distributed. The systems are going to be, it's going to be all agentic. So here's how you need to think about this. Smartest person in the room in this age was a person who could memorize the most information, recall them, and do things. So you got a good education, you read a lot of books. Still important in this age, but smartest than the person in the room was the person who had memorized the most facts. Smartest person in the new agentic age that's here is the person who asks the best questions of AI. You still got to be able to think critically. You still got to have information and data and recall and memorization, but you got to think from a much larger perspective. You need to be more complex because you got to have the systems level type of thinking and then have AI help you make some sense of it and then do something with it. But again, make no mistake, this is what we're feeling right now. We are feeling the end of an era. And so like these chains are coming off. And again, we can kind of lament that that's going away or not. It's up to you. There's pros and cons with this. I'm not telling you this is a good thing. I'm not telling you this is a bad thing. I'm just telling you this is what's happening right now. We are switching to a new economic age and a new era where the systems, the process, the data are going to be much, much faster. And it's going to be a whole lot different from what we're used to. And so we have to adapt. What that means for the market, what that means for us is that, yes, there's absolutely some fear that comes with this. There's also a lot of opportunities. AI literacy is going to be one of the most important things that's out there right now. We all have to learn and change the way we work, and we have to make sure that we are teaching the people that we work with to think different about AI, and we need to teach them how to use it. That's really, really important. So the way you got to think about it is this. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, right? That's what this is. But unlike the past three, this is probably going to be the most significant one that we've had, probably more important than all the three combined, right? So you got to kind of think of it this way. But here's the other thing that's interesting about this in terms of how we think about this as an industrial revolution is that it's kind of invisible, right? So if I was going to go to the World Trade Fair and I pick up this device and I talk into it and I can talk to somebody on the other side, telephone of town, like I get it. I understand this is going to change everything. I walk into a room, I switch on the light switch and electricity, it's like, I get it. It's going to change everything. AI is different. It's on your phones, it's on your laptops, it's been there for years, since the 50s. This is just the next iteration of it. And so people don't really understand, this is probably why adoption rate is kind of behind. It's like, what's the big deal? Once you start using it, then you get, oh, I understand the deal now. I think the rest of the population will kind of wake up and get it when the humanoids start walking around and serving you coffee. Then they're going to see it and go, wait, what's going on? This is going to change everything. So most of us kind of know this is a big deal. Most people, they do not. They are not aware. And so that's part of this. But I want you to take a look at this map here. This is interesting. This is Brookings data. So this map shows you the light blue areas is where AI use is by county. AI use, generative AI use is low. And then it shows you where it is high, the dark blue areas. Anybody see the I-25 corridor on there? Yeah, guess what, folks? We're in a hot spot for AI. So I tell people, it's like, because I speak all over the country now, well, if you're in one of those light blue areas, you got time, meaning you got like a month. For everybody else, in Colorado specifically, go fast, move quick, because this is the economic time that we're in. There's a new report that just came out from Anthropic, Claude. Colorado was ranked number 5 in the nation in terms of generative AI use. So we are here in a hotspot. We have a quantum, for the northern part of Colorado, we're a quantum hub. I'm not going to talk about quantum, maybe next year. But AI and quantum, this is the future of all these things in terms of what this can do. The other thing that's very interesting is this, top, we talk about jobs. This says 30% of all workers could see at least 50% of their work be disrupted. That's old tech, that's old information. From a workforce standpoint, what I'm seeing is that you can think of it more like this, and this is again in general, 100% of jobs will be disrupted by AI to about 30 to 50%. Some more than others, some faster than others, but again, if you're using AI and using it well, you'll be fine. If you're not using AI or not using it well, you're probably going to run into some issues. Third piece that's really important is this point number 2. Unlike previous automation technologies in past industrial revolutions, it focused on the working class, the blue collar folks, physical labor. This, for the first time, is going to hit cognitive workers. That's never happened before. And economists are not sure what that's going to do to the economy, right? So it's flipped, it's reversed in terms of what it was in the past. So again, first 3 industrial revolutions, powered by steam and electricity. It went after those physical labor jobs. For this new industrial revolution, it's going to impact cognitive work. So you got to think of it this way. Depending on how much time you're on a computer and on a screen, that's cognitive work. AI can do that work for you. I would vote do it with you, right? But that's what it's going to impact. So all of us who are cognitive workers probably in here, it's going to impact you. It can do some amazing things for you now. If you're afraid of it and don't learn how to use it, it's going to automate these things for you perhaps. And so here's research that McKinsey did. This is fascinating, right? Because you can see by degree the level of disruption that AI is going to create because it's really good at cognitive tasks. So masters and PhD workers, it's absolutely going to disrupt you the most. Now again, here's the choice. If you're on that bottom line of productivity at 28, and then all of a sudden AI comes in here and productivity level goes up to 57, well, if you're using it with AI, you will be fine. If your colleagues are all in the 57 and you're at 28, then you're done. Did AI really take your job? Not necessarily. So you probably heard this by now, but it's still true. Don't fear AI taking your job yet. We got time. But right now, the next couple of years, you need to be aware of the person that's going to take your job is going to be the human sitting next to you that knows AI better than you. From a nonprofit standpoint, in terms of getting money and grants and donations, the nonprofits are using AI better to write personal, human, curated messages, and donor engagement are going to make more money as well because it's custom, it's personalized, it's well thought out. If it's robotic and whatnot, like you're using it wrong. The technology is significantly better than it was last year. But again, this is how this technology is going to disrupt, but also enhance. So it's kind of a mixed bag. But again, it comes down to it's a choice that you have to make of how you're going to use this and how you're going to use this for your team. So this is something I would highly recommend everybody take. There's a couple slides you want to take pictures of. This is one of them. This is kind of your plan for 2026 of what you need to be thinking about, because this is what we all need to. And by the way, guys, nobody's figured this out yet. Like there's not, even the Fortune 500 companies, you heard Robert kind of say that, like they're slow to move. Accurate. Everybody's figuring this out. 2024 happened and this kind of giant reset button got hit where everybody was kind of trying to figure out how we're going to do. But you need to train your entire team on AI. And again, remember, in the past, it was, I could do a training once a year. You'd be fine. Well, in AI world, what is that now? Once a year? That's 7 years have gone by, right? So you need to figure out what's your plan for your team. That's your AI literacy plan. Do you want them to have certifications? I would highly recommend it. Are they training once a month? Highly recommend it. Are you meeting and talking about it? Are you telling them to use it? Highly recommend it. But before you use it, what's your AI policy? If you don't have an AI policy, most people tell me this, John, we don't have a policy because we don't need it. Why? Because AI is not allowed in my business, my nonprofit, my government organization. It's like, okay, that's a problem. Well, why? It's not allowed. If you look at the most recent statistics, these are people that were honest. So people that weren't allowed to use it at work, they took a poll, 56% of people are sneaking it in. Those are the ones that were honest, which means it's probably like 70 or 80%, right? So they were just, oh yeah, I sneak it in all the time. And they're like, well, I'm not going to have AI in my office because I'm going to get sued. No, how you get sued is telling people you're not allowed to use it. They sneak it in. They're not using it responsibly or ethically because you didn't train them. That's how you get sued.
Can I ask a question real quick? Are you going to share this presentation with us?
Happy to. Yeah, happy to.
As I mentioned, we're recording and we'll send out the presentation and the recording after the event. It won't be tomorrow. Give us time to get the video right and then we'll get it to you. Perfect. Promise.
Yeah, but please feel free to take pictures as well. So you've got this. So you need an AI policy. Even if you can use it for this one thing and here's 100 things you can't use it for, that's better than no AI allowed. That's not a good strategy. You'll get in trouble. You need to make your websites AEO ready. I'm not going to talk a lot about this today, but here's the quick hit on this. Everybody's familiar with SEO, search engine optimization. That's how everything runs right now, right? That's dying. People aren't using Google as much to find search. People are going to chatbots to ask questions. It's giving them an answer. It's called answer engine optimization. This is moving this direction fast. If you don't exist to an AI, if your website's not speaking to AI is not going to find your website. You don't exist on the internet anymore. So you don't have to redo your websites today, like rebuild them. It's a hybrid. You got to do SEO and AEO, but probably as soon as next year, it might just be all AEO. And so if your websites are kind of going down, double check them. It's already started. People are like, wait, so nobody's coming to our website anymore. Nobody's looking at our pages. What's going on? It's because of this. You have two customers now. You have humans and you have AI algorithms. You got to speak to both. So another thing you got ready for. On the top, you got to figure out your AI tech stack. We're going to talk about that. I have a slide for you too that will show you the tools you should be experimenting with. You need to automate workflows, build these workflows. You can build tools on your own. I'll talk about that. And then we already talked about, you need to learn how to think with AI, not just use it, but how you are thinking it and using it individually for yourself and your team. And this is why you want to train your whole team, because people tell me this too, like, John, thanks for training me. I'm using AI all the time. Great. And I have my AI person over here that does it for our whole team. It's like, you got what? Like, well, yeah, I got my HR person and my your experts, right? My finance person, my IT. It's like, I got my AI person. It's like, that's not how this works, right? Because every single one of you thinks different, has different personalities. It's going to be structured to you. And how you level up your whole organization is if the entire team, the brain trust, is using it because you all think different. That's how you level up your productivity, your strategy, and your thinking, is that you're using it together collectively with the plan. You got to have a plan. All right, 3 steps to unlock AI power. This is also important. So step number 1 is, and this is what you'll hear people talk about it, it's just a tool, kind of accurate, right? Tools that we've developed as a species don't learn on their own and get smarter the more you use them, right? So it kind of is a tool, but it's turning into something more than that. So if you're just using it as a tool, you're missing out. You need to use AI as your operating system, which means you should be working in AI tools most of the time, like 95% of the time in your daily workflow, right? So here's the question. How many of you have never used AI? Raise your hands. That's okay. Okay. How many of you are using it occasionally, like once a week, once a month, every once in a while? Okay. How many of you are using it every single day? Raise your hand. How many of you are using it hourly? Trick question. Every hand should be up. That's where we're at. Hourly. Yeah. And that's what I mean when you've got multiple tools. There's not just one. Multiple tools that you're using to do things. So you should probably be having at least 80% of your work, at least, kind of in these AI tools. And then your email and Word or whatever, that's just your work product that you're shipping out to ship the final product. And the last one, same thing. We've already talked about this as well. You have to learn how to think with AI, to strategize with AI, and learn with it. AI is great at strategic thinking. Most people I talk to as well, like, I love AI. I'm writing killer emails with it. It's like, okay, that's great. That's where we all start. It's good practice. You got to keep going. If you're not talking to it, if you're not using the paid versions, we'll talk about that in a little bit, you're missing out. It is a complete competitive advantage using the paid versions versus the free. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. This is the big ones, right, for the most part. So, and I always like to kind of see where Colorado is at. So who's using ChatGPT in here? Raise your hands. Okay. Who's using Claude? Gemini. Okay. Copilot. Meta, Grok is usually low. Okay. So, and that's usually what I see is like a lot of people using ChatGPT. This is a high Gemini group though. And then obviously there's some Copilot in here too. These are all other kind of tools that are out there. But what I want to speak to you really quickly is that in terms of the volume of use, to give you some concepts and some context, right? On a weekly basis, AI use for the world, there's thousands of tools right now, right? So all of them is about 2.4 billion users a week. That adoption rate, by the way, is 5 times faster than the internet. When you're talking about the stickiest one, the one people are using the most, it's ChatGPT. That's about 900 million users a week. When you think about not using AI, kind of here, using AI but the free version, here, using AI but the paid version, it's here. This is a distinct competitive advantage because they are way better. You're using the new models. You're not going to run out of tokens. Anybody in the middle of a project, it's like, you ran out of tokens for the month. I'm like, seriously? I just need this last thing. Frustrating. It's going to take your information and it's going to train its models, right? It's not private. It is going to hallucinate more because it has old information. So the free models are taking a data set of the internet from like 3 or 4 months ago, and now you're in current day. So if you're asking for current information, it's like, well, I don't know. I'm going to make an answer up. So the new model is going to use current information, current stuff, real time, much more powerful, less hallucinations, and it's not going to necessarily take your data and use it to train models. So here's the wild thing about ChatGPT users. The amount of people that are using the paid version of chat, 5%. It's only 5%. We have data right now on the world usage. 84% of the world, global population, is not using AI. About, I think it's like 13% are using AI in general, but only 0.3% are using the paid versions. That is a distinct competitive advantage. I'm just telling you right now, spend the $20. Don't go to Starbucks, like probably once now. But again, these are super, super powerful models. I'll show you the IQ here in a little bit. All right, this is the next slide I would highly recommend that you take a picture of. And then this is how this is your homework, which will take you 3 seconds. Take a picture of this, load it into chat or Claude or Gemini and ask it, what the heck do all these symbols mean? Because these are tools you should be using. And then ask it, what are the names of them? What do they do? And how should I apply them, right? So I'll go through some of these. But then again, some of these I just don't have time for. But again, you've got it. It's in your phone. Use ChatGPT and AI to teach you about AI. By the way, AI loves talking about itself anyway, so you'll make it happy as you talk about it some more. But the ones you do need to know are these S tier. These are the big 3. These are what I tell everybody. These are your everyday AI tools. You need to pick one and use it and pay for it. You need to pay for all of them. There are some things that are free that you'll be fine. But you should be paying at least for one paid version of something. ChatGPT is most people. A lot of people are switching to Claude at the moment. Google currently has the most powerful one right now at the moment, Gemini. That'll change in like 3 weeks. But pick the one that you like, that you're comfortable with, right? Because the more you teach it, the more you use it, the more you train it, the more it's going to be custom to you, and that's a very good thing. Next slide here, A tier, I'm actually going to do in the training. After this session, I'm going to train you on Notebook LM. That's phenomenal. That's going to be like S tier, probably by the end of the year. And then I'm going to teach you a little bit about Copilot. There's another one here in the middle. This is Perplexity, and this is Perplexity Atlas. Anybody use Perplexity Atlas? Okay. These are agentic AI web browsers. You got to learn how to resurf the internet, folks. ChatGPT has another one called ChatGPT Atlas. These are very, very, very powerful. And then we have a whole bunch of other stuff down in here. I'll talk about these in a little bit as I do the presentation. But anybody know who's on the F tier? Yes, Apple Intelligence. Sorry, Apple. I know what they're doing, but they get an F. And I'm an iPhone user, but I use everything else on here. But again, you should use one of the top things for sure. And then these are the tools that are safe to use that I hear most businesses, small businesses, and most nonprofits are using. And again, this isn't all of them, but again, please don't use things from China. Just don't. They're free. They work really, really well. They are not safe to use. So this is kind of like your safe list. These are going to be tools to help you. And as you experiment more and more with them, there's better tools out there. Then you might find a tool that you need. So people shouldn't spend time learning about AI. That's impossible. You'll never catch up. You need to pick what are 1 to 3 specific pain points. What's a problem I'm trying to solve? Then figure out what tool is going to work for that. These are all different for a lot of different things. Yeah.
Can you talk through security risks? Like if I upload my estate plan to Gemini, is that going to be public knowledge in some way?
Good question. So the way the security stuff works, if you're in the free version, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, is it going to be able to say, well, so-and-so downloaded this on this date and here's what they said? Not necessarily, but it is kind of plugged into it, and the tools that the AI companies will have are going to use, right? Now, if you're using the paid versions, there's levels of security, right? So free, it's going to share your information. Paid, it's going to share a lot less of your information. Enterprise level, what they'll tell you is they share none of it. I'm doing air quotes because it's like, I'm not going to tell you that 100% is the case. 95%, I would say yes. But still, I tell everybody to treat AI like a scammer. Don't tell it your date of birth. Don't tell it your credit card information. Don't give it a social security number. Don't give it protected information, right? And again, you all have protected information, but there's very easy ways to redact pieces of data. Stick it in AI. It's going to give you great information out without breaking privacy. Again, this is why you need your AI policies. Telling your employees what you can use it for and what you can't. The thing that AI is really going to pick up on that you really need to know, and it's less about the protected information that you load in there, it's IP. If you've got a really, really good idea, and if you want to go check right now, hey, does anybody have this idea, like in the world? If it's not on the internet, then AI can't find it. If somebody's thinking about it, then it's not there. You can figure out what people are thinking if it's online. So you might have a great idea, you're writing a book, and you put this in the chat and it's helping you write it, and somebody else has a similar idea, and then it might be able to distill some of that information and give it to this person. They'll never know that it was you, but IPs I would protect IP very, very carefully because it will show up in somebody else's desktop. But yes, you got to be absolutely careful about these privacy settings and making sure you're clear on what you should be doing with it, putting into it, and what you shouldn't be. Okay.
You keep mentioning paid versions. Democratization and access is a very real issue in our world. And if we are, separating who's got tools and who can pay for it versus who doesn't, we're going to be in a world of hurt really quick.
Yeah, and you need to think about it this way. So, right, people are talking about AI as a tool, right? And again, it's beyond that. We need to start thinking about AI as infrastructure, right? Same thing like we're talking about, broadband and connectivity. Same thing. It's the same thing for this. We're not quite there yet, but that's where it's going to go. So if you don't have access to electricity, problem. Water, problem. Basic human right. Well, now we're talking about broadband as almost like a basic human right. AI is in that same kind of line. You got to have access to these tools, these resources, and the way this stuff works. So absolutely, yeah. Let's watch this quick video. So I'm going to tee this up really fast. So this is a video that an amateur made in a weekend before the Super Bowl using 3 different types of AI tools. You could make this if you were so chose. It's total copyright infringement. You'll see in a little bit. But here's the point. This is awesome in terms of the technology of what this can do. And it's terrifying because they can do this and use these likenesses and protected IP. And right now, there's not really any rules about it. So that's a problem. Awesome and terrifying, right? So check this out.
We are at capacity today here for the battle of the century between 2 streaming giants. Team Paramount, led by SpongeBob and Patrick, and Team Netflix, led by player 456, Gi-hoon. And on the stands, we are dazzled by the presence of Warner Brothers stars, Tyrion, Harry Potter, the cast of Friends, Neo, Superman, and Wild Harley Quinn.
I usually go for guys who are into dinosaurs, but I've always had a thing for bats.
You know it's serious when the Godfather's here. Oh boy. And she's scanning for weakness. Red light. It's cowabunga o'clock. And the field just got me. I have to stop this. The Triticus. Just shut up and watch. So get your credit cards ready. Your subscription is going premium. Now kick back and watch the WB champion get crowned right here on ESPN. How you doing?
So that's where the technology's at. And if any of you saw some of the AI-generated videos last year, they're terrible. 1 year, 7 years, that's what you're seeing. Sora, this is another app you can play around with. Sora 2, this is free. I do like a 10-second video. You got to prompt these very differently than you have to prompt text. You got to prompt all of it, is the point. So you got to make sure you're using this technology well. You've also got to get in the AI line. I talked to a lot of people. Like, I'm going to wait till AI gets good, Jonathan, then I'll use it. Okay, that was last year. Okay, well, I'm going to wait for the good stuff, agentic AI, then I'll use it. Okay, if you want to use the good stuff, you got to go back to the beginning, like the rest of us. These things stack on each other. You have to keep learning as you go. So you have to use the technology and really make sure that you're prompting it well. In order to prompt it well, you have to think with AI. Here's what I mean by that. And in our workshop session, we'll talk about prompting, but here's an example. A good Google prompt is best restaurants near me, right? And then you're just going to get a bunch of sponsored ads. It's not really helpful. But if you go in and type that into ChatGPT, best restaurants near me, you'll still get an answer. It's not great, because here's the difference. You have to define best. You have to give it context. Best to you and me, we'll probably agree on some things, but in general, best means very different things to us, right? You have to define best. You have to prompt it well. And if you're not prompting it well, you're not going to be able to use agentic AI, which is the future of everything. These are the 5 steps of what I tell people that you should be working on, right? And again, you're never going to arrive. We're always working. Gen AI prompting, just talked about that. AI applications, that was that 2006 slide deck. Use more tools than just the big ones. Use more tools than just ChatGPT. Incorporate them into your workflow, right? 3 is custom GPT development. You should be developing your own chatbots to do specific tasks for you. Those are very long, complicated prompts, which is great training, and they work really, really well to help you out with stuff, to help you get into agent creating. And then you should be starting to work on vibe coding. Any vibe coders in here? Okay. Vibe coding is where you can create your own software. So Replit is a good one to start. Lovable is another good one to start, so that you can just, I don't know anything about coding. I was building a website yesterday that was helping me write articles for LinkedIn, my website, and for a newspaper article I had to write. I built it in 10 minutes. I don't know how to code. Most people don't. You can build your own software. So these are the tools you got to start using. Now, here's what's also important for you to know is how smart AI is and where it's going. Average human intelligence is 100 to 110, right? So right in the middle of this chart over here. By the way, this is what they're working towards, something called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. It's a whole big debate, but you'll hear that term a whole lot more because they're arguing about it. But really what it comes down to is a couple things. Part of it is intelligence, part of it is emotional intelligence too. AI will have both. They're working on EQ now. But from a logic standpoint, 100, 110 is where you're at. 140 is like genius level, and then 160 is that's where Einstein was at. So for context. So this is last year, December 2024. This is April 2025. This is February 2026. What's really interesting about this is that I've seen ChatGPT and Opus higher than 130. I've seen them clocking in as high as 142. I don't have many friends that have an IQ of 142. I wish I did. I don't. But here's the thing. You have for $20 a month, even the free versions they're not as smart. You have something that's probably smarter than all of your friends in your pocket that you can talk to and ask it questions, help you design things, help you think strategically. It loves strategy, it loves leadership conundrums, and it loves AI. Those are the top three things it likes talking about. But you need to use it for these types of purposes. Use it to think differently, use it to challenge yourself, and have it push back on you. A lot of people are like, well, it just agrees with me all the time. Well, did you tell it not to? No. I can do that? Yeah. Have it play devil's advocate. Have it challenge you. Have it put holes in my theory. Help me get better. Help me refine. It will do that. It'll push you if you let it. It'll push you if you ask it. But you've got to have a strategy. You've got to be able to think with it. From the standpoint of AI nonprofits, this is, again, one of the reasons why I like doing these conversations, because my biggest concern is that nonprofits and small businesses are going to get left behind. And if they're left behind, they're going to go out of business, period, full stop, right? And again, there's already a lot of challenges that nonprofits have to deal with in this current economy. AI can actually help them solve some of these issues. And so I want to talk about just a couple. 92% of nonprofits feel that they are unprepared, and 60% uncertainty and mistrust. 41% agree they would greatly benefit, and 36% agree that it would greatly impact their fundraising strategies, right? 76% of nonprofits do not have an AI policy. Again, that's how you get sued. And so you got to have a plan, you got to have a strategy, you got to think through this stuff in terms of what you're doing. 40% of nonprofits say that no one in their organization is AI educated. This is numbers from last year. And again, there's not a lot of data on this in general, to be perfectly honest with you. I had to dig to find this stuff. I would check out this report too. This again from last year. This is the best report I've seen. There's not a lot of them, but this will, again, I'll kind of show you a couple of highlights in here as well. Very similar to what you just saw, but it's helpful because it talks to you about different ways for nonprofits to use this. My point in showing you this slide is that that's a long list. I guarantee you it's even longer in this first quarter of the year than even this last year. Nonprofits should be using this for a lot of different things, not just fundraising and donor engagement. They should be using this for strategy. They should be using this for just basic work, paperwork, volunteer registration, building their own tools, keeping things elevated, grant writing, review, analyzation of data, and on and on and on and on and on. But again, people don't really know how to use it. There's a lot of fear. And the nonprofit leaders I'm talking to, like, we're ready to go, but my board doesn't want me to. So nonprofits kind of have like two issues, right? Do they use it? Do they want to? Does the board want them to? They're kind of in the middle of this, kind of ethical conundrum. This gives you just a little bit more data, and we've kind of talked about this already. But again, here's what people are using it for, which is interesting. 26% are not using it. 42% are like one or two people. That's where most people are at. Whether or not they should be, I don't know, right? 24% are making specific efforts to begin, and only 7% have successfully adopted AI. That's a problem. That's a big problem, right? Because again, this will accelerate the thinking. It'll accelerate your work. It'll accelerate your opportunity to generate revenue for your missions. This is the whole point of doing this. This is how we do better. This is how we use it for good, is use it to help with the workflow to generate more income. And right now, only 1% of nonprofits are opposed to using it. 1%. That's lower than business. They want to use it. Nobody's telling them, teaching them, showing them. So we need to make sure that we're helping to lead the way as thought leaders in this space to help nonprofits access this technology and harness its incredible power. This is a good tool that there's a lot of them starting to pop up here. This is a good one that people are starting to use that has AI capabilities built in that will help people build donor engagement frameworks, writing personalized, information campaigns. It's all really, really good stuff. So again, there's more tools you're going to see. The other thing I want to point out here too, really quickly, I'm running out of time, are some of the top fundraising strategies, right? It's going to be fundraising, and it's going to be more fundraising and marketing, right? So again, they want to make sure that they're using these tools to engage more for donor relations. Here's just a quick chart of social media, website, email, face-to-face, marketing, fundraising, be seen, etc., right? So I want to point out one important thing on this, which makes sense to me, but I want to point something out of marketing is going to change as well. Everything's changing. So we have to think different about marketing specifically, and by that is that there's a new thing and a new way how marketing is going to shift. And it's going to shift from keyword marketing to intent-based marketing because of AI. And so what's really interesting about this is that the past state keyword focused on traffic and rank and what are people typing into it. Because AI is very, very smart, it's actually going to start picking up on your behavioral patterns and the way you think, and it's going to recommend stuff to you that you didn't even ask it. So from the standpoint of like, oh, we're doing all keyword searches, nonprofits. Wait, everybody's over here now doing something totally different. We do not want them to get left behind. Wait, my website needs to be AEO ready. People can't find me. We need to get them ready for all these different types of things that are coming and changing at just rapid pace. Google just had made an announcement 3 weeks ago that they're switching from keyword search to this intent-based marketing. We know a little bit about it right now, but we need to learn a lot more. So again, as I wrap up here, I want to point out one thing that's really important. This is my personal mantra. This should be yours. I want to end on this because this is important. If you're busy, that's not a good thing. That's a sign. That's a distress signal. And everybody I talk to, hey, how are you doing? Jonathan, I'm so busy. Okay. Now, before COVID, what's really interesting about this is that it used to be a badge of honor. It was a good thing. Now, after COVID, what is it? It's anxiety. It's a little bit of dread. It's burnout. It's I'm hanging out by my fingernails, right? And so the paradox is this: with this new AI-driven economy, if you're not using AI well, you're going to be busier, and busy is bad. Busy is not good. Busy is where you're focused in the weeds, and you need to be able to look up and be strategic, because all the changes that we're just getting warmed up for change, folks. Like I've already got change fatigue, and we're just warming up. So you're going to see more. So we got to be adaptive. We got to think different. We got to think clearer, be more strategic. So be strategic. Don't be busy. This is going to be the strategy for a lot of people. And we got to think different about how we work, and we got to think different about how work product comes together. So.